Prophet Marcello Currents. So, this is a new beginning for me, and I just kind of want to express that. I want to express the new beginning that I'm in, and I want to express this new season that I'm experiencing. So, first, before I address the new season and what I'm experiencing in the present time, I have to address the old. So, the reason why I left South Charlotte, I'm going to be covering that. I left South Charlotte because of I was prompted by the blatant disrespect that I've been getting, and I've graduated this kind of disrespect. I've graduated this kind of disrespect. And that disrespect is the gang stalking in stores and playing with our food, trying to stop us from getting food. I'm going to get into that too. Well, I'll just get into it right now while I'm thinking about it. So, like, what I've noticed with the gang stalkers is if you're homeless and you don't have a car and things like that, I'm gonna just tailor make my situation, because maybe if you have a car you can go somewhere else, and maybe if you have a little more money you could do something else, you have more options. But in my case, I was homeless, and what they would do is literally not stock certain food that I bought previously so I could get it again, or they would have people buy out the food that I wanted before I would get there. So I was dealing with that as well, like chicken sandwiches, for example. Like there was these certain chicken sandwiches in the store that I was getting. They were all stocked up at one time, flowing over before I started getting them. And then they just stopped stocking them. They just vanished. Same thing with a rice at a Dollar Tree store. That was a Shell's gas station. Dollar Tree store, I was getting instant rice. Instant rice all stocked up pretty decently. Then they didn't just stock it. They no longer stocked it. This happened in New York, where in CVS, they would take the brand of peanuts I wanted. They would take Cheerios at bodegas. They wouldn't restock it. They would take the snacks, the Pacific snacks I wanted, the Pacific cereal, everything Pacific. Everything else is good around it. And so my spiritual intuition tells me that that was intentional gang stalking, trying to stop me from having certain food and things like that. And so I learned from that, and I've grown from that, and I've graduated those levels to where now I'm not gonna be subject to that. So that's what I was going through. They was stealing or taking. What gang stalkers would do is go buy up the food, in other words, that you want. There, go buy it up. Okay, so that's what they was doing, buying up the food. And I know I've graduated those levels, and those based on survival and me surviving, and based on my spiritual maturity and my spiritual rank. I've graduated that. So that's what I was dealing with over there on South Boulevard off of Tyrola Road. And the last night I was over there, I had just got some money from my mom, right, for the first time. And they basically ruined the initial giving of that money. They ruined it because I went in there and got sandwiches at a Quick Stop on East Woodlawn. If you're familiar with Charlotte, it's South Boulevard and East Woodlawn. So it's a Quick Stop gas station, a Quick Stop gas station over there. And when I went in, it was like 10 to 12 gang stalkers. And they were just talking under their breath, I mean, it didn't even make any sense for that many people to be in the store. That's how you know it's gang stalking. It just didn't make any sense. And they just was too connected. You could tell the people that was in the store was connected. So it's just like obvious, weirdos, this one dude had like a do-rag on with a craft-made crown like Jesus with thorns on it. I mean, all obvious insinuations, man. And for young people, we understand it. For older Christians in the body of Christ, it's hard for them to understand. But if you understand the young generation and how ratchet it is and how crazy it is, it's easy to understand how people would even think to do these type of things. And so that's what I was dealing with. And I just felt that it was very disrespectful. I got money from my mom, and then all of a sudden, these people are storming in, trying to stop me from having peace with getting food. They just hated the fact that I was eating. Literally. I mean, imagine that. Somebody just can't even stand for you to eat. And as high ranking as I am, look at that. Just look at it. So it's like, it's not pride. It's just sometimes you outgrow situations. You outgrow attacks. I've outgrown those type of gang stalking attacks to where I know myself that my numbers, my spiritual manifestations, my intellectual property outrank those type of attacks. See, that's what happens when you're spiritual and you get gang stalked. Because everybody that get gang stalked is not spiritual, but for me, I outrank those attacks not just in my mind, by my intellectual property, by my spiritual rank and spiritual manifestations, and my endurance through all these situations previously. So it don't make sense for me to be subject to the same thing over and over again. And I beat them over and over again. I mean, that makes sense, right? So once you beat gang stalkers over and over again, imagine them trying to win still after that. Imagine them trying to think they can win in the minds of the people, or in their own minds, or to anybody. They've been beaten too many times. So that's when you've graduated, you've outgrown these things, and it's just time for you to somehow navigate past those situations. And so that's what I did. I felt like I outranked those situations. I feel like they just waiting to win one time, and they think they won, and that's their own arrogance in their community. I mean, but nobody in their right mind gonna think that they win one time, and I done beat them 1,000,000 times, that they win. Ain't nobody gonna think that but them. And it's like a little kid at an arcade. Dad, give me another quarter, give me another quarter, give me another quarter. And they keep playing the same arcade game until they win. They keep losing and asking their dad for quarters to play over and over again. So, you have to be the better reasoning as a spiritual person to say, you know what, they playing the same game over and over and over and over again. And it's a lost cause. I've won too many times for them to be taken seriously. I've won too many times for it to be even close to God's kingdom being compared to these people. So that's why I moved on, man. It wasn't out of fear. It definitely wasn't out of fear. It just, if more than anything, it's just a lack of tolerance for the same gang stalking, the same stuff going on, and you outrank it. I mean, we got all kind of numbers. I got all kind of spiritual numbers, and people on the streets know that. You know what I'm saying? They know I got reputation for defeating these people over and over again. So then something has to give, something has to shift, where you say, enough is enough. I mean, I've won, I'm gonna cash out. I guess it's like the cash out mentality. I'm cashing out because I've won. And I really, literally feel that I should be cashing out by money. I should have my money from this situation. I should have a certain amount of money from this situation. That's what I truly believe. I should have monetary justice in the form of monetary. And so that's also where I'm at in this new season, is just now positioning myself for monetary justice while still putting pressure on the Americans for sitting back and watching this, because this went beyond a secret society. It went beyond butthurt people out here in the community and everything. It went beyond to the point where it's a collective effort. Once it's a collective effort, I see it as the Americans, and that's it. It's the Americans. That's how I see it. And so I'm not no longer focused on a secret society. I don't feel no need to focus on a secret society because too many other people outside the secret society that helped the people got involved. Gang stalked. See, gang stalking is not just secret society. It's guerrilla warfare. It's the collective community. So how you gonna just give the liability to the gangs, the secret societies? That's what they want us to do. They want us to blame them because they feel so bad about everything. But in all actuality, it went way beyond them, where the most competent person is gonna say, well, I want all these people to be judged by God for what they've done, which is outside of the secret societies. It's all the people that was involved, which, like I said, it was a collective effort. It's the Americans. It's the Americans. And so I feel like somebody owe me a bag, and we're going to continue to put pressure on the Americans collectively until I get some money. If people try to play like we can't prove it, we can play that game like little girls and boys, right? Or we can play the man and woman game where they know they played in my face, and where everybody know, the community know. It's too many people that know. And what I advise them to do is, if you know that y'all been involved against me as a collective American community, you know for sure, you know they was involved. You can, even though you might not also be able to prove that, you can confirm it, right? You can confirm that to other people. You can say exactly what happened and its description. You can say exactly what's said in its description. And somehow that's going to work when many people do it as a link of truth, and it's going to add up, right? And the reason why you should do that is because if you don't do it, I'm going to put pressure on you and the American community for being involved. So everybody that being involved, now you're getting the tab like you at a restaurant. Okay, the food was good, the entertainment was good. Now here's the tab. The Bible says this: whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Whatsoever. That means anything. Even the gang stalking. Because see, with gang stalking, people think like, well, I'm not really doing anything to anybody, so ain't nothing gonna happen. You know? But the Bible says whatsoever. That means any type of anything, it's going to have spiritual reciprocity. And that's what they're going to find out the hard way. That's what you Americans going to find out the hard way, that there is actual spiritual reciprocity for gang stalking. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Because I'm pretty sure you felt that nothing was going to happen for gang stalking because physically there's no liabilities. I mean, defamation of character is a physical activity. Defamation of character is a physical activity, but it didn't bring any physical injuries to me, right? And to others. But it still is a physical act because you're physically out here talking audibly to the people. You're moving physically against a person. It's just not the element of physical injury, but it still is physical. And God is going to judge the physical activity and navigation of gang stalking and going out here telling people that we are all these negative things. God is about to judge that. And that's what they're going to be surprised about. Well, we're not doing nothing. They can't prove it. Well, God can prove it, can't he? God can prove it. And so, you know, that's why it's like little teenage girls and teenage boys. Okay, you can play that game. If you don't get nothing from this message, I want you to understand that y'all can play that game like nobody can prove it. And ain't can't nothing be done about it. But let me tell you something. There's going to be liabilities. We can play this game where you ain't get my money. And maybe you gave up as a community and you don't really care no more. Well, you're not the only one. I don't care no more either. And guess what? I'm better at not caring than you. I think I'm a little better at not caring about this than you. So guess what I'm going to do? I am not going to have no care for what happens to the Americans. I'm not going to pray for them. Just like Jeremiah in the 11th chapter. I'm not going to pray for them anymore. Which is a form of no care. I'm not going to pray for this community. I'm not going to cry for this community. It's not going to be any care. No more care. Playtime is over, guys. Playtime is absolutely over. If you think that, well, he can let it go. No. What you mean let it go? You're talking to a grown man. Let it go? You talk to children about letting stuff go. A grown man in any situation like this is going to want money. And it's whether it's a preacher, a prophet, or a thug, or a gangster, or a nerd. It could be a nerd, a gamer. I don't know nobody in America that goes through extreme defamation of character but doesn't want money, don't feel they should have money after being dragged through the mud, a smear campaign where their name is thrown all across the community in a demonized way. I don't know nobody that wouldn't feel that they deserve a bag. So I'm no exception. I'm no exception to these feelings. I feel the same way. And I think when you are as spiritual as I am, people look at you like Mother Teresa. Well, Mother Teresa should just let it go. You're like the Pope. You're like the Mother Teresa, even though I'm not a Catholic, right? You should just let it go. Nah. America. I have no history with many of you. My family is different. I love my family. Me and my family are in a new season. You know, there's peace between me and my brother. There's peace with me and my family. And it is a new season. I have history with my brother. I have history of love and peace with my brother, my biological brother. And so I'm in a new season of peace. I'm in a new season with my brother. Now, America, you're not my brother. You don't get the same forgiveness and love and truce and peace that I give my brother. And you shouldn't ever feel that you could get that same peace and truce and reconciliation that I would give my brother. You're not going to get that. We're strangers to each other. We don't know each other. These people out here in America, these Americans, we don't know each other. Okay? So I'm in a season of love and peace in my family. And I don't want the Americans to think, well, he's just going to forgive everybody and love everybody also out here. It's not a matter of forgiveness with the Americans. It's a matter of justice. It's a matter of justice. And it takes the mature people to understand that although I can forgive the Americans, it still is a bag. Because what they'll do is play as Americans on the element of forgiveness to stop the process, the mature process of paying for what you have done. So it's easy to get the spiritual guy or the religious guy to just forgive and it's all over. No, hold up. Let's slow down right there. It's easy to get the spiritual guy, being me, or what you might call the religious guy, to just forgive Americans. And now we don't got to pay no money. All we got to do is try to trigger him on certain scriptures where he should just forgive everybody. And once we've successfully triggered him on those scriptures or those worldviews of American Christianity, then we won't have to pay no money. All we got to do is make him feel like he should forgive us all. So when you shoot for that, think about it. That's what they doing. And it ain't gonna work because I'm too mature and wholesome in my understanding of God and God's kingdom. God wants me to have this money. And if you gave the money, even though many of you have given up, who's to say what can happen to this country? Who's to say what can happen to this world? Because I know y'all know, just from my traveling alone, off the strength of my traveling, I am one of the most severe cases of gang stalking, if not for any reason. I've been in 4 major states being gang stalked, not one. 4 major states. Florida, California, North Carolina, and New York. Right? That's 4 major states I've been gang stalked. Off the strength of New York City, being gang stalked in New York City. Can you imagine that? If you're being gang stalked, can you imagine being gang stalked in New York City? Can you imagine that? You can't, King. It's a bag, man. And God wants me to have that money. God wants me to have the money. Okay? You might think, I'm extorting these people or attempting to extort these people. I'm trying to strong arm this situation like a gangster. That's not what it is. See, this is where you get to another level of maturity. In your understanding of how God's people should be treated when something happens. Okay, I'm not going to be Mother Teresa. I'm going to be legal. And the liability is extreme national defamation of character. And the numbers I want, at best, is $2.5 million. 2.5, and which is not a lot for what I've been through. The other numbers I wanted was $707 million. $707 million, and that's from all the gang stalking all over the country. They gang stalked me through the Greyhound. Now, mind you, let me explain my Greyhound trips recently. My Greyhound trips recently was from the East Coast to the West Coast, which took 3 days. I went from Charlotte, North Carolina to San Francisco, California, right? That took 3 days. Guess what I went through, for those who understand gang stalking? Gang stalking. That's what I went through. Where people were sitting in my seat with their children just to trigger me psychologically. It couldn't possibly be this woman's seat. And I could have made her get up. But she was a gang stalker. It couldn't have possibly been her seat. She was a gang stalker that wanted to trigger me with her children. That's why she was sitting there. If you pay for a ticket, then you would, especially if you got children, you're going to enforce on your seat. Not sit in mine. See, I don't add up. If you got a child, ain't you going to enforce on your seat instead of just sitting somewhere? Even if it's other parents with children, well, I got children too. This is my seat. And by the way, I have a son too. My son is 19. And they should have a seat, several seats, for playing with me. And I got a child in this world just like the rest of the people. See, that's what they need to realize. Even the prophet has a child. I have a son just like you. I have children just like I got a kid and I got a son in the world just like you. And this point is not to prove the details of that relationship. This point is to prove that I'm just as normal as you. Listen, when you talk about the children element, I got a child in the world just like you. So get over yourself. You're not the only one with children. Get over yourself. You're not the only one that brought a child into the world, America. Get over yourself. You're not the only one that's a good dad that provides. I provided for my son when I could. I put myself on child support payments to pay my wife out of my job when I was working at the hospital in Charlotte, Carolina Medical. So I've put myself on child support, and my wife didn't even take the money. The state of Florida sent paperwork saying they did not comply. My ex-wife did not comply with taking money, right? So to me, that's number one dad right there already, hitting the ground running. Hitting the ground running, I'm number one dad for putting myself on child support. And that's why I never had any problems over the years. My son is 19, but I ain't had no problems over the years. So I put myself on child support. So I done been through baby mama drama. I'm just pulling people up to speed because it's people that that's out there in America that will act like I'm some little strange dude in lurking in the nooks and crannies of America. Man, I done put myself on child support. You know what I'm saying? I done still sent money to my child after my wife didn't take the money. So, you know, I'm just normalizing myself. I'm putting a sense of normalcy on my situation that these Americans did not put. They was corny, acting like I'm Freddy Krueger or something when I got a child myself. You follow me? Yeah, so man, you know, I'm just bringing myself down to earth. So like I said, you know, the prophet got a child in the world too. I done brought life into the world as well. Okay, now if you corny, that don't mean too much to you. If you're a real man or a real woman, it holds weight that you got a child in the world just like the rest of these people. Right. See what I'm saying? You got a child in the world just like everybody else. And with that being said, I'm being gang stalked like I'm a teenager or I'm a 20-year-old kid. Listen, bro. Listen, we have no fear. I have no fear, bro. I have to have my money. I know that's what God wants me to have, right? And I don't care what nationality, ethnicity you are. This is for the Mexicans. I got children just like you do. Because they got a lot of children. That's why I'm saying it. And so they'll come out here about these children. Like as if somebody doing something to them and they be gung-ho about these children. Well, let me tell you something. I got a child in the world just like you. And that's what you need to consider. If you're a real man or a real woman, that's what you need to consider. And that's it. Now, if you want to be a clown, you want to be corny, we can play that game. Or you can sober up and realize this man got a child in the world just like us. We're on even playing ground. Now, when we're on even playing ground, that means you got to prove everything you're talking about. And if you got any self-respect, you're going to respect me off the strength of the fact that I got a child in the world like you. We on even playing ground. We been on even playing ground. Which means I'm not some person, some animal-like person lurking in the dark. That hasn't lived real life and lived life as it's supposed to be lived and experienced things in life as it's supposed to be experienced. That's one of the greatest times of my life is seeing my son born. I was there in the delivery room. I seen my son come out my woman's body. You understand? And that holds weight with real men and women. You ain't gonna just override that like it don't mean nothing. How that don't mean nothing? How that don't confirm what I do in my sexuality? How it don't confirm that? That tells you everything you need to know about me. And if that's not enough, you don't need to know it. Without charges, without warrants, you don't need to know nothing. You ain't got no charges. You ain't got no warrants. And you see I got a son in the world. That's where you stop right there, buddy. And that's where we find that it ain't nothing but goofy people playing after that. That's all that's after that is goofy people. That's it, bro. And every other element is irrelevant. Whether it's your race, whether you the Mexicans, the Latinos, whoever else you are. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant information. Everything that these people are talking about is irrelevant information. Listen, how's it relevant? How's it relevant to me? See, if you don't shave off all these other elements, they'll be talking about stuff that's irrelevant, man. As if it's an issue with stuff that's irrelevant. What's relevant is you came out here talking about you think I'm a pedophile, or you was insinuating that I was a pedophile, but you could not prove that. That's what's relevant. What's relevant is you as Americans could not prove that I was a pedophile. You couldn't prove it. That's what's relevant. I ain't trying to talk about no Mexicans. I ain't trying to talk about no Latinos. I'm talking about my money. That's it. And see, that's the only conversation we should be having right now. That's it. But because it's about my money, we're not having that conversation. And that's why things are, and listen, here's the punchline. That's why things are not getting better. You know why? Because you're having irrelevant conversations. You're trying to pin something as Americans on me. You're trying to find something. You don't play with, listen, you don't play with somebody trying to find something. That's a whole different animal from you having some credible on me. Just trying to find something? Nah, buddy. And see, that's when we know you playing too much in my face as Americans. You got to the point where you just trying to find something. Okay, then that's a different type of war to me. The war where you just trying to find something on me. You see, now you see what I'm saying? It hit different, don't it? Basically, man, this is a war trying to find something on me. Find anything. Anything. Racism. Anything negative. Anything negative they trying to find. Hitting on women, hurting women, all kind of stuff. I mean, anything they can find. How I feel about this, how I feel about that, anything. And I'm not that person. Let me make it very clear to you. As a prophet of God, not because I'm so special, I have a position in God's kingdom that will not be challenged. And if it is challenged, God is coming. And that's why you're in your situation. Because you're challenging the prophet, trying to find something that you can find on me. And that's not how you started. You started out with coming out here and you couldn't prove anything that you was insinuating through gang stalking operations, psychological operations, guerrilla warfare. You couldn't prove nothing. Now, at that point, I deserve money based on extreme national defamation of character. Once you couldn't prove something about a person, guess what the term is for the liability? Defamation of character. They couldn't prove it. Because they couldn't prove it, we don't just say, oh, we're going to go away now. No. You can't go away now. I think we're alone now. You remember that song? What you saying? I think I can go home now. Well, I can, but y'all can't. Listen, man. Y'all owe me money, man. And I don't think you understand that God wants me to have it. I'm the only one got to say it like this. God wants me to have that money. You got that? There's no other conversation. All the other ratchet foolishness and ignorance of the black community and Hispanic Latino community and the white Americans is irrelevant to me. I don't care about nothing else but my money. And I'm not some little guy from white culture in America that think I'm gonna be a superhero for America. No. I'm not gonna be your president. Listen, they talking about me being their president. No. Listen, you insult my intelligence. Wouldn't that be insulting to your intelligence? After all they done, they turn around and say, well, now you can be our president. Now you can be our leader. No, bruh. Because that works out for you. That doesn't work out for me. And I didn't sign up for that. So imagine somebody insulting your intelligence talking about, oh, you could be our president now. I need my money. I wouldn't do that anyway based on all they have done. America been playing too much in my face for me to be their leader. See, you're trying to make it work out for you where it's a business deal where it works out for you. It's not going to work out for you. In this case, you're just liable. Just like going to court. If you're liable, it's not going to work out for you. It's just not. And you're trying to, maybe because we're outside of court technically, see that part?
you think that as Americans, it's gonna we can make a deal where this works out. Nah, it's just like being in court. Y'all are liable. Just like being in court. And when you're liable in court, you're liable in court. You're not gonna come out working some deal. And see, the real reason nothing is happening as it should is because I'm the only one that benefits in this situation. And you're looking for a way to benefit, whether it's trying to gang stalk me to think you're better, greater than us, to look like you're better than us, tougher than us, or for me to be your leader in this foolishness. That's how narcissistic these people are, arrogant these people are. To have the audacity to think, I would want to be your leader. Look how arrogant that is. You play with this person and then you think they want to be your leader? Why? Because it's America, right? Because it's America. That's what it is. And now you found a prophet that is not in love with America and that doesn't want to, team up with America. I don't want to team up with America. I just want my money. And you should expect a prophet to talk like this. I'm not impressed by America. I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with God. And it's a setup, just like Joseph became a slave and then he became second in command in Egypt. This is my setup through all I've been through, like Joseph, to be set up for my money, and people don't see it that way. Just like in the Bible, Joseph went through slavery, went through all that he went through. And it was time after that for him to rise to power. You know what I mean? He rose to power after that. I went through all these things, and God has orchestrated it and set it up for me to have the money after all these things you've done, just like Joseph. Now, right there is where you have to be mature and realize it's not going to go any other way. So then if it doesn't, and I don't get my money, this is what happens. We continue to put pressure on the Americans. We continue to put pressure on this whole collective community. And I'm already credible. I'm one of the most feared men in America. And everybody knows that. Okay, so that's not just on a physical means, obviously. That's on intellectual means. And foundationally, spiritual means. People already know God don't play about me. Everybody know that. Everybody know. This is a spiritual lane. Let's make this very clear. And everybody know God don't play about me. So with that being said, man, I just want my bag. I just want my money, bro. That's it. Now, if I was a maniac, I'd be out here, just bent on. You need to hear this because they think I'm just bent on just destroying people and destroying the community. I've been asking about my money for years. Go look at the credibility. Go look at my videos. I've been talking about my bag for years. Okay, so if I was bent on just destroying people, they're acting like that's my primary purpose. That is not my primary purpose. My primary purpose is my bag. And they coming out here talking about the secondary issue. What we do when we don't get the money. What we do when we don't get the money is what? What should we do? What would you do for your family? If they owed you a bag of America? Think about it. It's beyond just, a flex, a teenager flex to get the money like it's a teenager flex and, ooh, he got the bag. This is about life. This is about people. This is about family, bro. And that's what I'm saying. It takes mature people to understand this. We need the money. And if I don't get it, you would do the same thing. You're going to put pressure on them till you get it. And if you don't get it, then, oh well. I can play the no-care game a lot better than they can. I cannot care a lot better. That's not the game you want to play. We don't care anymore. Okay, the we don't care anymore game, I'm a lot better at it. Don't you think? Well, if I got spiritual manifestations, I got information that's credible against the Americans marrying children. Americans marrying children. They got child marriage laws, even right here in the state of North Carolina. And I found out that it wasn't always with the age of parental consent. I just recently found that out a couple of days ago. They had laws to marry children without parental consent, and now that is the solidification of the whole situation. I'm gonna be doing a video on that, where they didn't have parental consent all the time. I googled it, AI'd it, if you will. I AI'd it and found out that they didn't always have parental consent with the child marriage laws, where you would have to have parental consent of parents to marry children. They didn't always have it, which means they was marrying children here in America without parental consent. You can go look it up. Now that's the final stage right there, because that's the final stage or argument that our enemies had. Well, the parents are liable. Well, you have a whole country that's liable, where they did not always have laws that consisted of parental consent as the details or the process or method of marrying children. So we got numbers. That information is the foundation of the numbers. They was talking about one thing. Guess what? We got y'all on child marriage laws. Oh yeah. And if you don't know no better with the gang stalkers and everything they're insinuating, because I know they're insinuating pedophilia towards you probably too, putting kids and gang stalking you with kids and all of that. Your greatest foundation is the Americans have been marrying children with laws to marry children without parental consent. Now we officially got them. That's the nails in the coffin for the American community out there. Yo, y'all been marrying children without parental consent. Stop playing. Stop playing talking about pedophiles. Stop playing talking about sex predators. When y'all got laws to marry children, you got a history of laws of marrying children as well without parental consent. And there you have it. There you have it, buddy. In the year 1880, the age of consent was 7 years old. In the year 1880 in America, the age of consent was 7 years old. They could have sex with 7-year-old girls and boys in the state of Delaware in the year 1880. Okay? And remember, the greatest case of pedophilia is Officer Shadrick Jones, that made a black mother perform a sex act on her 1-year-old child. Officer Shadrick Jones, the whole black community dropped the ball. That's more power over this community. Well, why Black Lives Matter in the black community, in the Hispanic or Latino community, didn't say nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones? Officer Shadrick Jones, down in Iberville, Louisiana, that made a black mother. She was a black mother. He made a black mother, a police officer. We dropped the ball. A black mother performs a sex act on her 1-year-old child, and y'all talking about pedophilia in America, and the black community didn't say nothing? Jay-Z didn't say nothing about it. He didn't use his platform to say nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones. Tell me why. Beyonce didn't say nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones. All these other rappers, all these other entertainers, all these people, all the American famous people, yes, you have platforms to influence the people and spread information. Welcome to the 21st century, where you got social media to instantaneously inform everybody that's been brainwashed by the culture. You can talk to them, and when they ain't looking at the news, when they don't watch CNN, when they don't watch MSNBC. But you ain't do that, did you? That's what I'm talking about, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. You ain't talk about Officer Shadrick Jones. Jay-Z did not talk about Officer Shadrick Jones. Officer Shadrick Shadrick Jones. We'll never get that chance again as black community to finally expose these police, these Freemason police, for going out here and doing what they accuse us of. We'll never get that opportunity again. It ain't gonna ever happen probably again. A police officer making a woman perform a sex act on a 1-year-old child? That happened in 2019. 7 years ago, still with less than a decade ago. We're still in the same decade of when that happened, less than 10 years. Where was Black Lives Matters when you need them? Where was Al Sharpton? Where was Al Sharpton? When he was alive, where was Jesse Jackson? Where was Minister Louis Farrakhan that talked about police officer Shadrick Jones? I can't make this up. Where was Kevin Hart, the comedian? Why he ain't say nothing about it? Why did nobody say nothing about police officer Shadrick Jones? Now you see why I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Because if we had protested, we would have taken the credibility, the influence that these police have over the community. If not for any other reason, that influence would have been broken. They still can manipulate the community against us. The police can still manipulate the community against us. But if we would have said something about Officer Shadrick Jones making a mother perform a sex act on her 1-year-old child, he came to her house and recorded it and everything, we would have broke the influence that police have over America. Well, they would have still been here, but they wouldn't have had no influence. They wouldn't have been able to utilize the people. They definitely wouldn't have been able to utilize the community against the prophet. Police have utilized the community against the prophet and other Christians and other people being gang stalked. It's the Freemasons. That's why when police officer Shadrick Jones was arrested and found out, why wasn't anything said on CNN? Why wasn't anything said by MSNBC? Why wasn't anything said by ABC? Fox News? Because Officer Shadrick Jones was a policeman, and they tried to save face for the image of the police institution of America. You tell me what other reason. When a police officer made a black mother, black now, knowing the relations between police and black people, made a black mother perform a sex act on her 1-year-old child. You tell me why that wasn't on CNN with all that other corny, goofy stuff on CNN. Why wasn't it on MSNBC with all that foolishness and all that foolish talk and irrelevant stuff, irrelevant to survival and irrelevant to real things going on out here? Because someone manipulated. It's no way something like that happens at the hands of a police where he coerced a woman to perform a sex act on a 1-year-old child, and nobody virtually knows about it. It's virtually nowhere as far as media news outlets. How can that happen? Because the Freemasons or the police institution manipulated for the image of the police to be preserved to the community. If we would have, if black community would have rose up when Officer Shadrick Jones made a mother perform a sex act on her child, a 1-year-old child, if it had been a white woman, it would have been a whole different situation. You think a white mother would perform a sex act on her own child by the hands of a black policeman? Let's say if he was black, he was still black. We wouldn't hear the last of that. But they'll still be talking about it, like I'm talking about it. But y'all still ain't talking about it, are you? You ain't still talking about Officer Shadrick Jones making a black mother perform a sex act on her own child. That's the worst case of pedophilia in this history of this country. We ain't playing no games over here, man. That's what I'm trying to show you. We ain't playing no games. And I want my money. If these messages compel you, if this compels you Listen, if you feel like I've shown you something that you don't know, cash out me, man. PayPal me. Because you didn't know this information. I'm not being arrogant. You didn't know this information. PayPal me, even if it's $1. Show your support. Even if it's $1, $2, $3, anything helps. Listen, there is no Cash App or PayPal transaction that is not appreciated. Just $1. Show support. Realize whether I have a famous platform or not, I have revealed something to you that these famous people ain't even said nothing about. Jay-Z didn't say nothing about it. Beyonce didn't say nothing about it. That's supposed to be the kings of African community, of the African American community. Okay, well, they ain't say nothing about it. New York didn't say nothing about it. They ain't say nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones. All the 5 boroughs didn't say nothing. Los Angeles didn't say nothing. Who you want to bring? Who you want to bring? Nobody said nothing. Officer Shadrick Jones was a black man that made a black mother perform a sex act on a black child, and black people said nothing. My question to you is, why didn't they say nothing? I can't make it up. And so instead of saying it's over, I just want you to realize I outranked America and I need my money. Because what people will conclude, well, it's over. No, well, it wouldn't have been over if I was liable. You would have wanted to do something. But when I win, oh, it's just over. No, you should be saying, he needs his money. Talking about Officer Shadrick Jones, and Jay-Z didn't say nothing. Beyonce didn't say nothing. Who else you want to name? They said nothing. And you call them your kings and queens on the low, right? That part. You got people, these 5%ers. The 5%ers didn't say nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones. The Nation of Islam didn't say nothing. American Christians didn't say nothing. I'm trying to show you the prophet and what he does. I reveal things to the community. I expose. God reveals it and I expose it. That's how I like to put it. God reveals all these things. And I expose it to you. And y'all sit back and eat popcorn and listen to it like it don't mean nothing. You see what I'm saying? Glory to God. Glory to Yahweh. Hallelujah. God has revealed this to you, and that reveals my rank. Now, if you're a clown, you're going to sit back and think something else is going to beat me or something else is going to defeat me. This proves my rank right here. And you're too corny as Americans to see it. Well, you explain to me why I'm the only one talking about Officer Shadrick Jones. Explain to me why I'm the only one talking about child marriage laws in America. When I've educated police, I've educated policemen in San Francisco where they didn't even know the information. They said, thank you for this information. The information on child marriage laws. They didn't even know it. I've educated police. How I don't outrank these people out here in America? When in your lifetime, you probably will not successfully educate police. You won't probably do it. In your lifetime. I have done it in my lifetime. You know why? Because God has put me in the position of the prophet. He reveals things to me and I expose it, even to the police. And they playing in my face like I'm a delinquent out here on the streets. That's why you see what I'm saying? That's a revolution back to my point. I outrank these people, these gang stalkers. I'm not subject to that. And I'm out here talking about child marriage. I'm out here talking about Officer Shadrick Jones. And you think I'm gonna let these little young 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds play in my face? Think about that. I'm 45 years old, almost 50 years old. And you think I'm gonna let some 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds? But see, that's the culture. Where if they see me carry myself a certain way, look a certain way, they think I'm game to play with. I'm beyond the big homie. I'm not the big homie. I'm the prophet. Jay-Z is considered the big homie. Jay-Z ain't say nothing about child marriage. See, y'all got to understand, there's levels above Jay-Z. There's levels above Beyonce. Oh, Beyonce is the highest level? Jay-Z's the highest level. Come on, man. You can't be serious, bro. You can't be serious. I told y'all this before. They are kings of pop. Jay-Z's the new king of pop. But he do not come out here to the community and inform the community on my level. Beyonce is the queen of pop. She don't inform nobody. So in your mind, when you call them king and queen over what? They ain't educating black people. They ain't informing black people about Officer Shadrick Jones. They ain't talking about a black mother performing a sex act on her own child at the hands of black police. Jay-Z ain't saying nothing. So how is he a king over the community? Make it make sense. He's not. Why? Because he's rich? White people rich. Okay, so are they kings and queens over our community? Okay, so if we base it on money, you see how we lost. Jay-Z, all these people, Elon Musk got money. See, we play ourselves if we make it the game about money. Y'all gonna play yourself when y'all compare yourself to me, because all I'm gonna do is point to these white folks that got money. And it's over. The flex is over. Your flex is over when I point to all these white folks that got businesses and all these different businesses and brands all over America that they have had from generation to generation. The flex then becomes over for any black people playing in my face about how much money they got versus me, or trying to make us look humiliated. I can show you all these white people. See, the black man performed, his value system became deeper than money, having money. It became about certain other things: justice, intellectual property, morality, judging things the right way, doing things the right way. Malcolm X didn't have no money. Remind you, Malcolm X didn't have no money. MLK did not have no money. No, they didn't. Not no significant money. But they outranked everybody else. They didn't have no money, but they outranked everybody. See, there's a lane that outranks without money. There's a lane that outranks without power of wealth and influence. And us in the black community, we always acknowledged a lane without money that's more powerful than money. And I'm in that lane. You want to know why I'm in that lane? Because I'm the only one revealing. While y'all talking about pedophilia, while y'all talking about whatever else y'all talking about, I'm the only one talking about child marriage laws in the full timeline of child marriage laws from the 1900s and 1800s up into the new laws that were passed when Donald Trump was president his first term. Y'all didn't even say nothing about that. Look at that. Why y'all didn't say nothing about the new child marriage laws that were passed while Donald Trump was president? Donald Trump was president. When y'all made new laws, Trump didn't say nothing, did he? How the prophet is being played with. Trump didn't say anything. That's why he don't like me. That's why Trump don't like me. You know why he don't like me? Because I exposed the fact that, you didn't even say nothing. You came and went from the White House not saying nothing about child marriage laws. And here you are again, your second term, and you still haven't addressed the elephant in the room, which is child marriage laws in the United States of America that happened on your watch, whether you allowed it, whether you helped in the process or not. You are the president. You were supposed to step in and say something. And as big as Trump's mouth is, why didn't Trump say nothing about it? Big as his mouth. Look how big his mouth is. I can see if he was kind of laid back. Look how big Trump's mouth is. Ain't it funny he ain't say nothing about child marriage laws? Ain't that funny? I want you to think about this. Big as Trump's mouth is, bruh. Why Trump didn't say nothing about the child marriage laws passed in America July 1st, 2019, while he was president. 4 states passed new laws. California being that most popular state that passed the new laws. It was 4 states. Why Trump didn't say nothing about it? Huh? Why Beyonce didn't say nothing about the new child marriage laws? Why Jay-Z did? You see what I'm saying? You see how it keeps coming up? That I'm doing stuff they not doing. I'm doing stuff your kings and queens is not doing. Over and over again. It's not one thing. I just cover Officer Shadrick Jones. Black people didn't say nothing about that. Jay-Z, Beyonce didn't say nothing about it. Child marriage laws passed July 1st, 2019. Jay-Z didn't say nothing about it. Beyonce didn't say nothing about it. So it's a fictitious king and queen position that y'all got for Jay-Z and Beyonce that has no interaction with the community. Not on the mature level, not on the higher level. It's all fantasy. It's all your preference. But they ain't doing nothing out here. They ain't talk about nothing. What Jay-Z talking about? What Beyonce talking about? Man, come on, bro. So it's fictitious to me. I mean, they kings and queens of pop, the popular music, popular culture, that's it. But it ain't, you know, I'm talking about the prophet comes into the community and talk about real issues, real laws that's in this community. Real child marriage laws. Jay-Z's not saying nothing. Beyonce not saying nothing. About Officer Shadrick Jones. All these basketball players, yeah, these basketball players. LeBron didn't say nothing about child marriage laws, did he? Denzel Washington ain't said nothing about child marriage laws. Angela Bassett on 911, she ain't said nothing about no child marriage laws, has she? She ain't saying nothing about Officer Shadrick Jones performing a sex act on a 1-year-old child, did she? All these rappers, all these people that you listen, you name them. You name whoever you want to name in your mind. Whoever you got in your mind that you think can see me, I want you to look at what they didn't do and what I did do. As far as my lane, as far as affecting the community and talking to you, they can give money, they can talk to the people because they're gonna do that. They're gonna try to show you they're greater than me in different various ways. But the bottom line is, on the issue that we on, they didn't listen. They ain't say nothing, did they? They ain't say nothing about these children, did they? But they out here insinuating it as a culture in the community. Not Jay-Z and Beyonce necessarily, but there's other people insinuating all this stuff about these children, right? Okay, why y'all didn't say nothing about child marriage laws? And that's a bag, man. You see my logic? That's a bag. So we can sit here and play games. We can sit here and ring around the rosy. Listen, bro. I'm a grown man. You see the gray in my hair? You see the gray in my beard, buddy? I want you to look at the gray in my beard. You see the hair in my face? You see that gray in my beard, buddy? I'm a grown man. I'm a grown old man. I'm 45 years old. I'm not playing no games, man. We need that money. Jay-Z ain't got to get it. Beyonce ain't got to. Somebody. Y'all figure it out. Y'all doing all the talking out there as a community. Well, do the talking about my money. Who get my money? I shouldn't have to figure it out. Y'all talking among yourselves. Okay, then figure out who gets my money. Why you can't do that? Why you can't work at finding out who gets my money, man? I need my money. That's the punchline. Yeah. I want my family to have things. I want to have things. And it's certain people that get off on not seeing you have things. They like you in that position of not having things. Playtime is over. I'm not playing with people that want to see me suffer. I'm not playing with people that don't want to see me eat, literally. Like when I was on the streets, they didn't even want to see me eat. They was mad because I was getting grocery, bro. They was mad because I was eating sandwiches, bro. Literally. Not the idea of survival, the idea of he's eating a sandwich and we were mad about that. Bro, listen, man, that's the history. The history is the history. And playtime is over. I gotta have it. I gotta have money. We gotta have it. There's no other conversation. There's nothing else to talk about. These people marrying children, we want a bag. It's a new day, it's a new season, and you know, I need a bag in this new season. I need new money. Ain't nobody did what I did. Ain't nobody did what I did. You can name them. Eminem was talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana on 3 a.m., the song 3 a.m. Oh, he's supposed to be the GOAT of rap music? Okay, well, the GOAT was talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana, which couldn't have been no older than 16 or 15. And if he wrote the line before 2009, she was even younger. Eminem talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana, thinking it's cool. That's white boy stuff. Thinking it's cool to be evil like that. It's not cool. But black people call him the GOAT. Y'all ain't on his head about him talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana. Yeah, that's if you doubt that Eminem is a white boy, now you know he is when he talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana on 3 a.m. on the song 3 a.m. Okay? Now you see why I want a bag. Because your culture sat back and watched too much go on in the same area that you're insinuating against me. Y'all sit back and watch too much go on. On the song Every Girl with Young Money, Mac Main said, holla at me in 3 years, Miley Cyrus. How you gonna size up a child sexually? Would you let me look at your child and say, holla at me in 2 or 3 years? If somebody hollered, if your child was under 18, would you let them say, yo, holla at me in 2 or 3 years? You would let somebody say that to your child. That's what Mac Main said on the song Every Girl, Young Money with Lil Wayne's label. Lil Wayne put that out. I'm just calling it how it is, bro. Wayne put that out. And that should have been considered, okay, what? Holla at me in 3 years. Holla at me in 2 years, Miley Cyrus. I think he said holla at me in 2 years. Holla at me in 2 years, Miley Cyrus on Mac Main's verse on Young Money. I'm just showing y'all culture. I'm just showing y'all that y'all ain't say nothing about a lot of stuff in the same area that you insinuate. So it's corny. You see what I'm saying? They insinuating stuff against me, but I can show you over and over again with Eminem and Mac Main talking about the same girl, Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. That's the same female. Them 2 albums, Can't Make It Up, came out. Them 2 songs came out the same year, 2009. 3 a.m. by Eminem and Every Girl with Young Money, that came out in 2009. Talking about the same female. She was underage. You see what I'm saying? Y'all culture didn't say nothing. American didn't say nothing about it. So put yourself in my shoes. What I supposed to think? When you got rappers sizing up little girls. Oh, we just gonna be quiet about it? No, I want a bag. For you setting a standard for me as Americans that you didn't live by. You didn't live by this standard. I can show you over and over again. You never did. I don't even believe you should be able to lock people up in America because you contradict yourself, bro. You cannot contradict yourself too sharply. And you have contradicted yourself too sharply. They contradicted themselves too sharply. Marrying children, didn't even have parental consent at one point. Didn't even have parental consent. But you want to talk to me about pedophile? See, this is what I believe. This is a term I coined. An invalid legal system. An invalid legal system is when you do not have an absolute right and an absolute wrong. That's an invalid legal system. Because if you don't have an absolute right and an absolute wrong and there's a contradiction, it's an invalid legal system for the community to cry to for justice. If you go to another country, they do not have an invalid legal system, which consists of, the details of an invalid legal system is this. In the case of America, this is why the term was coined, where you have child marriage laws, but in the same state, you could get locked up for statutory rape. How can you get locked up for statutory rape charges. But then let somebody else marry children. The other guy's locked up for having sex with the same age of child in the same state. So if you don't understand, the age of consent is one law and child marriage is another law, right? In many cases, let's just say for example, California, the age of consent is 18, which means if you have sex with a 17-year-old girl, that's a statutory rape charge. But you can marry girls at 17 in California. So it's the same details. You can marry a 17-year-old girl. It's the same details. 17-year-old girl married in California. Another one is just sexualized. And it's a statutory rape charge. One guy gets locked up in California for statutory rape. Another guy marries the same age of child. That's an invalid legal system because you don't have absolute right or absolute wrong. You understand, right? So you would never go to Brazil, even though Brazil got the age of consent at 14, and see them lock one dude up for something about 14 and everybody else having sex with 14-year-old girls in Brazil. You can't find, in other words, another invalid legal system in the world. You could look at stuff they do, right? But they do what they do and they don't contradict what they do. America do. America is in hypocrisy. Marrying children, but talking about pedophiles. I don't think it was ever valid. Because they was having sex with the same age of child. How you gonna talk about a pedophile? How you gonna lock them up? So this is an invalid. America is so corrupt, left to themselves, going back to the time of racism when they didn't have to answer to nobody but themselves. See, this is what happened when America was alone on this island-like country. Because there's water on both sides. That's the reason why it hasn't been invaded. If you don't know why. It's not that we're so great. It's water on both sides. If we had countries all around America, it would have been invaded a million times. But left to our own devices, this is what we did when we was left to our own devices. We married children. We did everything we wanted to do. That's the climax, the paramount level of America just doing what they want to do. During their racist time, they was marrying children. They just made laws to marry children. 7 years ago. 7 years ago, they made new laws to marry children here. So how can you come out as a community talking about a pedophile? Because you got the old America in your head. That's what it is. You got the fake America that they gave you and told you we don't do nothing to children. And that's the America you got in your head. The A-Team, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, these hero images. How America's a hero marrying children? My question to you is America a hero marrying children? So you can be a hero marrying children. Let's ask the military. Do you think you can be a hero marrying children in America? That's a yes or no question. It's not a trick question. It's all about your value system. It's about what you value. It's about what you esteem highly in your value system, right? Do you feel that you can marry children and call yourself heroes in America? You can put penis in children and call yourself men of valor? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Dominican Republic is not having Dominican Republic is not the age of consent is 18. I can show you other countries that's not doing it. But now they want to bring up what other countries is doing when it came to them, but they ain't bring it up on me though. When it came to them defending themselves, I guarantee you the Americans used all these other countries and what they're doing. Well, why you ain't do that when it came to me though? When it came to me and you questioning my integrity, why y'all didn't bring up what other countries are doing? You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. You listen. You only brought it up when it for your convenience, when it served and it fit your narrative or it helped you get out of your situation. But you have an invalid legal system. You can't show me any legal system that finds and defines something as wrong, But then there's another law that gives right to do the same thing in another law. Show me any system that defines something as criminal in nature, right? Like in California, 17, the age of consent, right? So it's criminal in nature to be with someone. The age of consent is 18, right? But it's criminal in nature to be with somebody under 18. But they give rights to marry in the same state somebody under 18. Show me a legal system that criminalizes certain details, but then gives laws to those same criminalized details. Laws to do those same things. The details are the same, right? With a pedophile and a woman and a child being married, that's the same details. An adult with a child. Child marriage is an adult with a child, right? That's the details. Pedophilia is an adult interacting with a child. That's the same details. So you have no absolute right or wrong in your legal system. That's an invalid legal system. You try to judge me as Americans with an invalid legal system. Your system is not valid. How? One moment you're marrying children, one moment you know what I'm talking about, you want to come out here talking about what people doing to children. You're confused with children. I say you worship children. Yeah, they do worship children. When you put them above what's right and wrong, you worship children as Americans. You marry children. If you go to two extremes, that's not worship of children. In any culture, we would consider that worship of children. If we seen, like in ancient times or something, we seen them marry children, try to attack a prophet about children, but you're marrying children. That's two extremes, different extremes, where that's going to put them way up here, if that makes sense. Where you worship children. I don't. They're human beings just like everybody else. Children are human beings to me. That's it. I got a sober mind. You know the most mature, sober mindset towards children? They're human beings just like anyone else. Okay, there you go. Now you're sober. Now you're clear. Now your mind clear. We need that money, man. And I know some of you focus on your emotions. You focus on being mad or whatever, man. Listen, man, I don't care about those feelings. We need the money. You understand me? That's what we need. To God's true people, salute. Over and out.